Cavin Elizabeth, your go-to for wedding advice and content, and today I'm going to be talking about what you can do with your wedding dress after your wedding. So you have a couple of options, but basically you have two different concepts. You can either keep your dress or you can sell your dress. So first I'm going to be talking about selling your dress, because you basically want to get your dress clean as soon as you can after the wedding to prepare your dress for sale. So you might be wondering, why would I want to sell my dress? Well, you might want to sell your dress if you just basically aren't going to be doing anything with it after your wedding. You might just not want to have it lying around. Maybe you're just never going to look at it, you're never going to use it. I'll talk about what you might want to use your dress for later on, but if you just know you're never going to do anything with your dress, selling it might be a good option for you. You might want to make a little bit of money back for it. Now, you're probably not going to get the full value that you paid for it. There's pretty much no way you're going to do that, but you can at least get a little bit of money for it. So first things that I said, you need to get it dry cleaned. Now, you need to make sure that you do this as soon as possible after your wedding so that all the dirt that's on your hem and your train does not settle in, especially if you have any like red wine stains, anything major on it, big makeup stains. The longer you wait to get it dry cleaned, the more those stains settle in and the harder they get to get out. So I highly recommend that you do your dry cleaning within 2 to 3 weeks of your wedding. If you're going on a long honeymoon right after your wedding, send somebody to dry clean your dress for you, and make sure that when you are choosing a dry cleaner, that you choose a dry cleaner who has at least 4 stars, if not more, on Yelp or Google. Don't send it to somebody who has really bad ratings, because you do not want them to mess up your dress, have holes in it, or crazy things like that. So I also know that if your dress is totally trashed, it's like super dark everywhere, you might not be able to get every single stain out, but you can at least get it as close as possible to the former pristine condition. So after you get your dress cleaned and it is ready for sale, you have a couple of options for selling it. So one option, if you are lucky and you are the kind of person who doesn't want to deal with listing it for yourself, you might have the option of a local wedding dress consignment store. Here in San Diego, we have one called Winsome Brides, and they actually take dresses from brides and stores. So that's kind of a nice option. You take your dress by, they'll tell you if they want to consign it or not, and they do all the legwork for you. So they might list it on their website for sale, and they have it in their store for sale. They do take a cut of it. Sometimes it could be up to 50%, but that's a nice option if you just don't want to deal with it. You just kind of want to drop it off somewhere. Now, these stores might have a policy where they will only hold on to it for 90 days, and then you have to come pick it up. They kind of feel out how well it's going to be sold. Maybe there's no interest in it and they kind of give it back to you, or maybe they hold on to it for 90 days and then after 90 days you can either pick it up, or they reduce the price and then they kind of keep it on the floor with that lower price, and then they reevaluate again. So kind of go through that cycle. So that's one option you have. You could also look into consignment stores in another area and ship it to them. That's also another option you have. But if you want to sell it for yourself, get all of the money for yourself, you can sell it online in a couple of places. You could try eBay, but a lot of brides will go to websites like stillwhite.com. They will go to preownedweddingdresses.com. You could also try Poshmark, places like that. Some of these sites will have a listing fee up front, and then they do not take any of the money from the actual sale. Some of these places are free to list, but then they actually do take a cut of your sale. So you have a lot of different options that you can research, but do what's best for you. But know that you should try to list these gowns with really nice, high quality photos. So maybe use some of the photos from your wedding photographer of you wearing the dress, take photos of the dress itself, the condition photos, make sure that you are being upfront about any damage. So thoroughly inspect your dress, make sure that you are talking about it came back from dry cleaning and there's still a stain here, there's still a stain there. Be upfront about it so that you don't have an unhappy customer who requests a refund after you sell the dress. You don't want to deal with that. And then in your listing, you need to make sure that you describe that it was a size this in bridal and I had it altered. So maybe measure the new bust, waist, and hips of your dress, lay it flat, have somebody lay it flat for you, hold it taut, and then measure across. And then that's kind of how you're going to get the halfway measurement and double it, and that's the full measurement of the dress. So just know that you need to list all the alterations and then kind of measure the full length of the dress. That is what you need to be specific about so that the new bride buying the dress knows exactly what's going on. So that is how you kind of do the process for selling your dress. Now, if you want to keep your dress, you have a couple of different things you can do with your dress. If you want to keep your dress and you want to maybe sell it down the road, or you want to have somebody borrow it, basically you're going to be doing something with it. Again, you need to get it dry cleaned. So that is one thing you definitely need to be doing. Dry cleaning is pretty much the first step that you need to be doing regardless of what you're doing with your dress. And one thing that you could do with your dress is you could turn it into a mini dress. So I have seen brides do this. They have their dress re-altered to be a shorter midi or mini dress. That is really cute, but you want to dry clean it first. So always dry clean before your alterations so that those stains don't settle into the alterations. That is always the first thing you want to do. So really cute idea to turn it into that. I will show you guys kind of some examples. These are from a designer who actually designed the dress into a mini dress, but I have seen brides do this. So the second option that you have is to simply dry clean your dress and keep it around. Maybe a friend is going to borrow it a year from now, or you are going to re-wear it for bridal portraits or another photo session. Just dry clean it. So that's something that you're going to want to do. If you are going to want to keep your dress around and do something with it after maybe a 2 or 3 year period, then you are going to want to preserve your dress. And that is what I have here. This is a preserved dress. I know it kind of turned a weird way, but the glare on it was really hard to deal with. So I will show you guys some better video of it overlaid here. But anyways, you are going to want to preserve it. Preserving your dress is going to prevent it from yellowing, whereas if you just have it hanging in your closet, over time it might yellow. So they preserve it from different companies, and they preserve it with different gases or liquids to make sure that it does not yellow. A lot of these companies have maybe 100-year guarantees, and this is something that you might want to do if you are going to have maybe a daughter or a niece or somebody like that wearing it, or maybe just a friend or cousin borrowing it several years from now. So this is a great way to do it. It also packages it up really nicely so that you can store it easily and not have it hanging. Also, having a dress hanging, certain fabrics are heavy, or just the way that they're made will actually make the dress grow. So you don't always want to have dresses hanging for long periods of time. So having them stored laying flat in something like a preserved box like this is a really great way to make sure that you are storing them properly. Now, if you're wondering, how do I preserve a dress? Well, the easiest way that I would go about it would be to contact your bridal boutique, ask them if they do preservation, or if they don't, call around to other bridal boutiques so that you can just drop off your dress and veil. A lot of these preservation companies will allow you to preserve some accessories, and sometimes it'll be included in the price, sometimes it might be extra, especially if you're doing something like shoes or things like that that are a little bit bulkier. But for my bridal boutique, we allow items like a veil or a handkerchief, something soft like that. Those can usually be done included in the cost. So that is going to be something that you could do. It's a really nice idea, and again, that is great if you were doing long-term storage of the gown and you don't plan to use it within the next year, year and a half, even 2 years, something like that. So we highly recommend gown preservation, and that's what you can do. So you can either sell or keep your dress, and if you're keeping your dress or selling your dress, always make sure you get it cleaned. Preservation services usually do include cleaning, so you don't have to clean your dress and then get it preserved. They will just clean it and then preserve it for you. Always a really nice thing to do. Now, one thing to note, if your dress has damages to it, whether you want to sell or keep it, you can always get that repaired by a bridal seamstress. So you can take it by and have them get a quote for it. Maybe there's a need to buy extra lace for your dress, and you can always order that. It might take a little while to come in, but you can always have it repaired, whether you want to keep it and just have it more pristine, or you think that by repairing it, you will increase its resale value. So that is one thing to know, always the option to have a damaged dress repaired. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. If you have other ideas of what you want me to talk about for wedding dresses, leave this in the comments below. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!